Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and also leave a like on the video. Now let's get started. Comic book collection. There's no doubt that taking a risk in business is the best way to achieve those big paychecks. However, things didn't work out so well when Chun-Li paid $500 for a comic book collection. You see, the seller said she didn't have the time or knowledge required to sort out through the comics, so she was unsure what exactly was in there. Chum went through with the purchase in hopes of finding some original pieces.
Bronze Age of comics, and bronze is only 2 steps away from gold. And there's 7 boxes of these babies. Sometimes you can just feel the deal.
All the books were sorted through by the team, and the entire collection was underwhelming to say the least.
You spent $500 on some comic books. I'll be lucky to get like $180 out of. So they're basically worth it.
Shoeless Joe Jackson signed book. Despite his early departure from baseball, Shoeless Joe Jackson was one of the greatest outfielders of all time. Of course, he was expelled from playing while in his prime due to the Black Sox scandal in 1919. However, this only made Shoeless Joe more legendary in the eyes of America, hence his signature and historic items being of incredible value. This brings us to a man who entered the pawn shop truly unaware of what he had in front of him, a signed book by Shoeless Joe himself. The man was so oblivious to the item's significance that he described Shoeless Joe as the man who played a game of baseball with no shoes. Rick obviously wanted to get his hands on this particular piece immediately, so without calling in an expert to evaluate the item's authenticity, Rick offered the man $13,000 up front.
For $1 more, you can just pick the book up and leave. But I'll go $13,000. If you do that, I'll do it. So.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, deal, man.
Great.
A few episodes later, Rick went to Rebecca, the all-means book nerd, to validate the item's credibility, and here's what she said.
I'm not convinced that it's real. If you can get the consensus of the community, then you would still be good to go.
Rick didn't want to believe that, so he filed an official consensus with the community to determine 100% if it was real or not.
Several factors became apparent during our thorough examination that prevented us from certifying the autographs, which means it's fake.
Fake Napoleon signed letter. With Napoleon being dead for almost 200 years now, it's pretty rare for people to find items holding his remnants of signatures on it. That is until a man entered the pawn shop with a signed letter by the one and only Napoleon. These letters were actually given to all of Napoleon's soldiers all over Europe to inform them of what was going on in regards to their country. There were even some of these that were signed in the middle of the battlefield. The seller initially wanted $4,000 for the item, but Corey managed to drop the price down to $2,000. Unfortunately, Corey completely forgot to get the item assessed and ended up having to get it checked out after already buying it.
So what we've got here is very clearly a replica of a very important document. Can't say that this is worth very much as a historical.
Steve Grad controversy. You guys probably know Steve Grad in one way or another. If you've watched Pawn Stars throughout the years, he's actually a professional authenticator who was hired by the show back in 2013. As of recently, however, Steve Grad is a controversial figure, and the internet doesn't feel too good when he does, well, anything for that matter. Being an authenticator, you have a duty and responsibility to authenticate signatures that are real and only real. However, a few years back, Steve Grad authenticated forged signatures knowingly to assist in someone making hundreds of thousands of dollars. The Pawn Stars team didn't know about Steve's willingness to provide false information, and it was uncovered that Steve lied on multiple occasions while on the show in favor of the pawn shop. Valuing sellers' authentic items for cheaper, the Pawn Stars team definitely got it wrong in this case. Signed Kobe Bryant jersey. On January 20th, 2020, the world lost an icon. Not only was Kobe one of the greatest basketball players, he was one of the most influential and deserving role models in all of history. Of course, with an early death and incredible life comes value in everything that lives on beyond the man's time. You see, in 2017, just 3 years before Kobe's passing, a man presented to the pawn shop a Kobe Bryant 2010 NBA Finals warm-up jersey.
You know, even if you're not a Kobe fan, you gotta appreciate what Kobe did. I mean, he's one of the greatest players of all time and played for the same team his entire career. I mean, that just doesn't happen anymore.
The item was equipped with a certificate of authenticity to show that it was indeed one of Kobe's, so you're probably wondering where did the team go wrong with this. Well, they turned down the jersey for $10,000, thinking they wouldn't be able to sell. However, as of 2020, the jersey is no doubtedly worth over $200,000. Rick and Chun-Li are probably kicking themselves knowing that they passed on this offer. And that will wrap up today's video, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.